So there's been tons of contradicting information in the world of Apple leaks as of late, and we have another one to add to the list because after many suggesting the Mac Pro would release at WWDC, we now have a report saying the exact opposite, so let's delve into it. So the upcoming Mac Pro has been long rumoured. We've been expecting this to release for a while, and it really seemed like Dub would be the perfect time to release this because Apple has released the M2 Pro, the M2 Max, and the regular M2 chip, but also Apple tends to release new Mac Pro models at WWDC. Gurman in fact has been suggesting this for a while, and while there has been disappointing news about the machine like the lack of user upgradable features, I was still excited to see what Apple comes up with. However, Gurman, as he usually does, gives us a vague statement that completely goes against his previous reports. He now believes it's unlikely for the Mac Pro to release in June, but doesn't explain why. Now honestly, I'm not sure what's the problem. The main thing that might come to your mind is Apple possibly not having enough Ultra chips, but that's unlikely because there have been reports that Apple has a huge surplus of M2 chips because of low sales, so clearly they're not having production issues. And so really the only possibility I can think of that could make sense is Apple delaying the Mac Pro on purpose to go back to the drawing board. As I said earlier, lots of the features we expected on this Mac Pro are no longer a thing, and so this machine is going to be a tough sell because it needs to be different enough from the studio and also justify the much higher price. Now there were some references to compute modules in iOS, which we thought could be something for the Mac Pro. What I and many theorized was each module having the M2 Ultra, so you could put together multiple of these modules and get some insane performance, and these modules could be upgraded down the line so you could get the M3, the M4, the M5 Ultra, etc. However, this is simply a theory. 9to5Mac alternatively did suggest that maybe these modules were for the headset, and since we've recently heard about battery packs for the headset, maybe there will be other attachable accessories, and this compute module is one of them. And so without any user upgradable features, this Mac Pro is really going to end up being a Mac Studio with better cooling, so maybe that's why they're going back to the drawing board to rethink this machine and give this an edge over the Intel Mac Pro and the Mac Studio. Also remember right now, Mac sales are at an all-time low. Apple had a 40% year-over-year drop, which was nasty, and so releasing more popular Macs like the 15-inch MacBook Air first and prioritizing production for them makes sense, since that would boost sales, whereas this Mac Pro ultimately is going to be a niche product. Most will not be able to justify getting one, including myself, and so waiting it out and releasing it once Mac sales get better could make sense. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. Ultimately though, if Apple really is going to make us wait even longer for this machine, they better give us some enticing features, and I really hope it's not the same Mac Pro body that would be way too large for Apple's silicon and the efficiency it offers. And for those curious, is there a chance Apple just cancels the Mac Pro? Well, I don't think so, because they did confirm at last year's spring event that they do plan to release one, so I doubt they would even officially say that if they did not have concrete plans to release this. Anyways, let's now delve into your comments. So Juka says, I believe a new display will be announced with the Mac Pro with the release being closer towards December. Honestly, at this point, I'm not even sure what's happening with the display because the release of that is even more uncertain than the Mac Pro. Ross Younger said, the 27-inch display with mini LED has been cancelled. Quo then said it was delayed, and now we have a report saying we could see some massive new displays launch in 2027. Yes, you heard me right, 2027. So yes, Apple rumors are a complete mess right now. But all this news regarding delays and cancellations does heavily suggest Apple's plan for now might be to just keep the displays they offer right now, which yes is a bummer, but considering most Mac users will likely never buy these displays, spending R&D during a recession on niche products like this might not make financial sense. In fact, you could argue that's why we've heard so much about the Mac Pro being nerfed as well. So yeah, ultimately I'm just hoping we get the Mac Pro by the end of this year. The displays would be nice, but I'm not as excited for them, and the current offerings are good enough for most consumers. So Evan Rogers says, I hope for a Mac Pro announcement with a Q4 release Apple GPU cards, multiple SoCs. Go crazy, Timothy. Apple needs to punch Nvidia, AMD, and Intel in the mouth with the Mac Pro, so please let it allow 2 to 3 GPU/compute cards. And yes, I'm with you on this. I really want Apple to flex the Apple Silicon prowess with this machine, and while it might not make financial sense to spend a ton of R&D on a niche Mac like this, going overkill with this machine surely would get the competition riled up, which is ultimately a good thing because we get better products. Also, while I would never likely buy this, it would be fun to see the specs on this if Apple had all the freedom in the world, because if I'm being honest, the excitement we had for M1 has not been matched by M2 yet, and so going mad with this Mac Pro would be exciting. And the concept of compute modules would really be a game changer, because if you buy the Mac Pro with just one module consisting of a single M2 Ultra, down the line, if you need more power, you can just add more modules instead of trying to buy another machine. Also, as long as the modules are cross-compatible, you could just keep the same chassis and upgrade the module inside, which would be sick for pros and would make these a pretty good deal. But then again, this is the same Apple who nowadays cares more about the supply chain and recycling the same chassis, so I guess I should temper my expectations. So David Lazarus says, I disagree about not doing upgrades until there are big upgrades available. They could simply have paper launches of new models. A new iMac with an M2 chip would not need a big launch, and yet the video encoding improvements would be enough for many consumers. Now previously I would have disagreed with that, but you know what? Because sales have been so bad, and Apple allegedly has an abundance of M2 chips, I could actually now see Apple giving us more simple spec refreshes just to try and boost sales. Also, I guess it's nice for consumers to have the latest and greatest, but I still think, especially for the iMac's demographic, they will not notice a massive difference between the M2 and the M1, and I doubt most people using the iMac will take advantage of the encoders because it's more of a family computer for casual use, in my opinion. But of course, people like brand new shiny things, and if Apple also gives us new colors, I can see that helping increase sales during this slow period. So Evan Rogers says, I think Gurman is wrong, it's too easy to upgrade the studio to let it rot on the vine. And while you did end up being right, because he is now backtracking on what he initially said, and you make a good point, Apple will likely not have to change the Mac Studio's design for the next few years, so it's very simple to just replace the existing chip with a brand new SoC. Anyways, let me know your thoughts regarding this in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.